Canelo Alvarez versus Andre Ward. What do you feel now? Let's talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Now, I had to make a follow-up video. I made a video that you guys see on the screen. It says Canelo Alvarez versus Andre Ward causes a frenzy. In that video, I gave my thoughts, and it's crazy. Fast forward to the future, Bivol beats Canelo Alvarez, and it's crazy to see the paradigm shift that we're seeing per usual in boxing. Notice on my channel, I keep it real, I keep it a buck, I give you my honest feedback and thoughts, and that video had almost 800 comments on it. I want to know what you guys think now. This video was done about 6 months ago, and Luis Ramirez says Andre Ward is undefeated, but he never became undisputed like Canelo. As if Andre Ward didn't fight better names at 168. You also have fans, I'm just reading comments. Andre Ward will always be remembered as the guy who retired 5 years too early, that's definitely not how I remember him. So as you guys can see, the Canelo Chupapi Muñeños, they were in the comment section heavy, and a lot of the diehard Canelo fans were saying that Andre Ward, he hasn't fought and Canelo would destroy him and things like that. So seeing how it all played out, I'm like Roy Jones. Y'all must have forgot. Didn't I just say that? I want to see what you guys think now. Canelo versus Andre Ward. Because I posted a poll, and surprisingly, after the Bevo loss, you have some of the same Canelo fans that were leaving these types of comments saying, hey, the Kovalev analogy doesn't make sense and this and that. Andre Ward said Caleb Plant is going to knock out Canelo, and, you know, now you have a lot of the Canelo man fans not having so much credit or faith in Canelo to get the job done. It says Canelo would stop Andre Ward, no doubt in my mind, right? It says he's friends with Ward, then his opinion is biased unintentionally. So I was called all types of names and biased. I'm friends with a lot of boxers. Some you guys may know, some you may not know those relationships exist. It says Ward was scared to lose that that's why he retired, right? And I just want you, I'll put the link in the description to this video. Some people said Ward would win hands down, but there were a lot of people who said that Ward would get punished by Canelo and Ward wouldn't be ready. It says Canelo, Freak Impression says Canelo knocks Ward TF out. No, Canelo would knock out Ward in his prime. So I want to see if the Canelo fans have the same confidence now that Canelo has lost to Bivol, because interesting enough, what Bivol did well was very basic, very basic. He didn't do anything to me. This is no knock on Bivol. I really like Bivol, but Bivol, he was just basically using fundamentals. He wasn't reinventing the wheel, and that was all it took. And just common conventional wisdom. See, I told you for years that Canelo has amassed a following that doesn't really follow boxing particularly. It's a lot of fanboyism, man-fanism and stuff, and it's not really catered to intelligent boxing talk from what I've seen. And you look at what is giving Canelo problems, Triple G's jab, clearly Dimitri Bivol's jab, Bivol jumping in and out at will, having a good defense and switching from defense to offense, flurries of punches, and then making Canelo reset. Him being a little bit taller, him being, you know, just fundamentally sound. You look at clearly the Floyd Mayweather fight. When Floyd Mayweather fought against Canelo, people relegated it to, oh, Canelo, he was too young and he was too green. But some of the same people picked Canelo to win by knockout. Canelo, and this is my personal opinion, I think Canelo has some of the most biased and some of the most outlandish fans in all of current boxing, to the point where they're not going to give a fair assessment. And I really question if some Canelo fans are fans of the sport of boxing rather than the man in boxing, which is Canelo Alvarez. Because from what I've seen, people said that Floyd Mayweather was a fluke because Canelo wasn't ready. No, he wasn't ready. He was too young. But too young doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing in boxing. In fact, oftentimes you'll see the guy who's older get fed to the young lion and get decapitated. Trevor Berbick, who has a win over Muhammad Ali. Some of you guys don't know this because you don't know boxing. He lost to a 20-year-old Mike Tyson. Gennaro Hernandez, he was older than Floyd. He lost to a 21-year-old Floyd Mayweather. Canelo Alvarez himself, when he fought Shane Mosley. Mosley was 40 years old, literally, look it up. Carlos Baldomir, he was 41 years old, literally, look it up. And Canelo was the 18, 19-year-old or 20, whatever age he was in all those independent fights. And Kermit Cintron, all these older veteran fighters with a name in boxing were being fed to Canelo Alvarez because that's who boxing wanted to build. And even Floyd Mayweather, he was 36 going on 37 when he fought against Canelo Alvarez. It just so happens Floyd is generationally great with a high level of skill and he's undefeated, and you know, Canelo didn't have the ability to beat him. So in the conversation of Andre Ward, I've always said what I've said. It would be a fun fight, it would be a good sellable fight, but Andre Ward, I really think he would dog walk Canelo Alvarez because Andre Ward embodies everything that I've seen that has given Canelo problems, right? He has ring generalship, he has defense and fundamentals like BIVOLs and like the Mayweathers, right? He has a level of slickness like Edeslandi Lara, who I also think beat Canelo. He definitely has a jab. Bevo used that against Canelo, and that was a spear. Triple G had an amazing, no guys, hey, Max is Mexican style guys, big drama. Triple G's jab gave Canelo a lot of problems, right? I also think that Triple G, you know, he's like known as the power guy, but people sleep on Andre Ward's power. I think Andre Ward has power and he has a vicious inside game. And Canelo, Bevo didn't overly attack the body, but I know Andre Ward would. See, Andre Ward fought Kovalev, who was undefeated, and Kovalev was a bigger puncher and is a bigger puncher than Canelo Alvarez. I don't care what any of his fans say. Kovalev, at that time, undefeated, even though Canelo knocked him out, that fight, whatever, per capita, Kovalev hits harder at 175. Bevo didn't even respect Canelo's power. There was never a time where I really seen Bevo truly hurt in that particular fight. So that being said, Kovalev, Ward was stepping to him, and he was an undefeated, bigger guy, bigger than Canelo, undefeated, a guy who's killed a man in combat based on being such a menacing puncher. There's no doubt in my mind that Andre Ward would have stepped to Canelo Alvarez. But I wanted to make this video because y'all must have forgot. I don't forget anything on my channel, Memory of an Elephant. I want to know what you guys feel now, because now that I posted this poll after the Bevo fight where Canelo lost all but 2 rounds, now I'm seeing people switch up. So I want to know if the people resurfaced from my video 6 months ago that were saying, oh, Ward will get his butt kicked. I want to see if they still feel that way. So I had to make a follow-up video. The brilliant thing about my channel is my whole career on YouTube is left on the internet. So you can go and trace back everything I've said, and there's breadcrumbs and a paper trail to all my work. So you guys let me know what it is now. If they would have fought prime for prime, Andre Ward versus Canelo Alvarez. Now we know Andre Ward is happily retired, so don't look for the fight to happen, but this is a good fantasy fight, and I wanted to follow up with you guys to see what you feel now, seeing how Canelo continues to struggle. People say, oh, Canelo, he improved vastly since the Mayweather fight. I didn't see it in the Bevo fight. I didn't see the same things he suffered from and struggled with Floyd and Lara and Triple G. And, you know, even Jacobs in the second half, I seen him struggle with versus Bevo. So you guys let me know what it is. Also subscribe. This enables me to reach more boxing fans when you guys do that. Please subscribe to the channel, share the video, leave me a comment, like, and that's all I got to say. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, Ego signing off. And I'm out.